Good morning, everyone. It's currently 7:30 in the morning. I went to sleep last night, close to 2 in the morning, I would say, because I was finishing building some trellises and I feel exhausted. I want to keep sleeping. It's a Sunday, but I also want to film a garden tour. I've been promising people a garden tour for months now. And this year I want to be able to do one every single month of the year. So I have my coffee and I'm gonna get to work finishing cleaning up the garden before my kids wake up. That way in a little while I can just get ready and then I can get straight to filming. Maybe I'm also a little bit dramatic because when I do an overview it doesn't look that bad, but it still bugs me. I like these to be really tidy. See, I don't like this. The other day I worked on these arches and they look so beautiful. If I come over here, you can see they take up about half of the width of the little planter. So I want to do the other half over here. I mean, look at mess everywhere. Which is fine because that's what I worked on last night. And now my hands feel raw, but it's time to set these up. I also went ahead and repotted my citrus trees, and I'll talk about that in another video, but I'm hoping I didn't just kill my trees. So I did that one and this one. Right now I'm drilling all the pilot holes for my pieces of wood. That way that makes the process a lot easier because I was struggling to do it when I was setting it up. Before I set the trellises up, I'm going to go ahead and shape them. Yesterday, the third one I made, I didn't do it until it was already up and it took me about 20 minutes just to get it to the right shape. So it's a lot easier to do it before you attach them. Also, I don't know why I didn't use gloves the other days because I'm definitely regretting it now that the paint is set in. This is what it looks like right now, which I know looks kind of weird, but first I'm going to attach it to the garden bed and then I'm going to attach it to this second panel using some more wire. That way it becomes one and it's much wider. Hold on. I love to garden, but I don't do well with gloves. So what is that? Oh my god, I don't think it's alive anymore. I still don't want it next to me. The next thing I'm doing is attaching them together using some more wire. So I'm gonna start off in the middle, lining these up. I'm exhausted. I should probably go get a stool. But I'm gonna keep repeating the same process all the way around until the two trellises are merged together. There we go, that's what it looks like. The last thing to do is attach it on the side of the wood and then repeat the process 2 more times. I definitely learned my lesson and I'm going to be using the stool to reach the top of those because my arms are on fire. Also, look how beautiful the sky looks. It's feeling like such a nice day now. Just finished eating breakfast, so I'm going to get back to work. Right now I'm working on mixing up some soil. This is peat moss, compost, and vermiculite. That's all I'm gonna add. I'm filling up these little pots because I want to transplant out some of my peppers, eggplant, what else? Tomatoes. This is the part I detest doing the most, but it definitely does save you money if you mix up your own soil versus buying bags of it. However, It is very labor intensive, so keep that in mind if you do plan on mixing up your own soil. I've learned that if I do this on my knees, it's a lot better for my back. And it might take a little longer, but the following day, I'm thankful I did it this way. I've had a lot of people in the past ask me about composting, and I really never kept up with it. I have a compost bin, but I was always forgetting to come out here to water it, to turn it, to add stuff to it. I was more focused on my worms. So now I'm trying to do both equally. And I've already almost filled up the bins because I'm coming out here so often to actually add things in there. Now that my soil's mixed up, I'm gonna start filling up my pots.
Baco.
Baco, where are you?
Mommy, Baco.
I finally finished filling up all the pots. I've picked up most of the things off the floor, like my kids' toys. I'm pretty sure there's still a few socks that I need to pick up as well. That's why I can never find them indoors. But I'm currently taking down the pieces of wood that I use for my shade cloth. The reason being that this year, I want to try and see if I can get by without adding shade cloth to the entire garden. Because last year, most of the plants did fine, except some heat-loving ones like my cantaloupes. Let me see. Which ones were they? My cantaloupes, my cucumbers, like the Armenian cucumbers, okra, I feel would have done way better had they had full sun. And I also noticed that with my tomatoes, the ones that got way more sun produced a lot more, and the ones that were underneath the shade cloth stayed alive longer, but they didn't produce as much. So worst case, if I change my mind, I can set up the shade cloth again, but I want to test it out just to see. So the pieces of wood I'm talking about are these big ones right here. That's where I typically attach my shade cloth. I'm taking them down because if I want to replace them, I want to get the taller ones. I had cut these down to about maybe like 7 foot. And I regret that so much because afterwards, whenever there were really strong winds, the shade cloth started sagging and it would rub against all the vines on these trellises. I've already taken off the ones on this side and I think it looks so much better already. You can really see the shape of the trellises without the piece of wood being in the way, because this is what it looks like with the wood. Plus it started warping. So if I replace them, I'm gonna get some better wood. That way it stays looking nicer for longer. But let's go ahead and finish removing them. Here's why I always use deck screws. There's no rust on them at all. They look like they just came out of the box. So I'll just keep reusing these because they're gonna last for a very long time. Already this feels much more open because I don't have the large piece of wood right here. And honestly, I shouldn't even have had the shade cloth up right here because this little section gets a little bit of morning sun, the tiniest bit of afternoon sun as it's moving this way, but then it's shaded for the rest of the day. So I feel like by putting up the shade cloth, I was taking away much more sunlight than I needed to. So much better. I can do it. Just kidding. Let me keep working. The garden area looks really nice now. I still need to leaf blow, but there's not really a lot to clean up over here. And in general, it just looks really nice and open now. And do you see how those trellises kind of draw your eye up? Beforehand, especially because the plants are so pretty small, you take a look at that and then the rest is blank, so your eye kind of focuses right there. But now you're kind of forced to look up, and then once we have things climbing, I think it'll look even better. But I can't celebrate yet because while this looks really nice and tidy, this does not. So the last thing to do is leaf blow everything over here. Here's the after. I still missed a few spots, but it's not a big deal. I'll get to them later. Next up is my least favorite part, but undeniably the most rewarding part.